Scott, continuing on today with Ubisoft was disappointed by Assassin's Creed Nexus VR sales and will not increase VR investment. Chris Scullion over at VGC. During a Q&A session as part of the conference call discussing Ubisoft's Q3 sales for its fiscal year of 2024, one caller asked about the emergence of new VR formats like the MetaQuest 3 and Apple Vision Pro, and whether the company had an update on its plans on developing software for VR platforms. Gilmore replied that Ubisoft was not yet willing to commit too much of its resources to VR, mainly because Assassin's Creed Nexus didn't sell as well as expected. Quote, "We have been a bit disappointed by what we were able to achieve on VR with Assassin's Creed," end quote. He explained, quote, "It did okay and it continues to sell, but we thought it would sell more, and we are not increasing our investment in VR at the moment because it needs to take off. We have been very impressed by what Apple came up with, and we think it's fantastic hardware, but we continue to look at the VR business as something that we have to look at but not invest too much in until it grows enough," end quote. Assassin's Creed Nexus VR was released on MetaQuest in November 2023 and lets players assume the role of three previous assassins from the series, Ezio, Cassandra, and Connor, and perform various tasks through their eyes, including parkour moves. In 2022, Ubisoft announced that it had canceled Splinter Cell VR, which was in development at its Red Storm studio and was set to be an exclusive to Quest. There's the problem there. VR, not big enough when you compare it to consoles. Not even close. Not even close, Scott. And then, on top of that, they kept it exclusive to Quest. I get Quest is the biggest platform right now. PSVR 2 is an opportunity, though, man, that they let it slide.
Yeah, that would have been a great opportunity to pull some funding from greater PlayStation and support the PlayStation VR 2, which is just completely undersupported. But even if you do group in PlayStation VR 2, is that enough to really justify putting a bunch of investment into the VR category? Because are you going to get that money return? And we've seen Ubisoft already. We were just talking about how they're having to fall back on some of their safety net kind of IPs.
Yeah.
But this takes that into a more volatile direction, being VR. It just wasn't going to take off, which is sad because, to my understanding, Nexus was pretty good, pretty cool. An interesting novel idea, at least, that could be fleshed out.
Yeah. No, it was definitely very cool, right? But be wary, motion sickness. Dude, a leap of faith. Wow. Put me off of it for one jump. I was like, I went. Now, granted, you could scale back all of the motion sickness awareness and all that kind of stuff. Dude, I took everything off because I wanted the full experience of that first leap of faith. And man, as cool as it was, I was like, woo!
You got it.
Wow, did I get nailed with that, right? I really started to feel it. But Assassin's Creed Nexus is sick. Dude, it's so cool. Steve loves it too. Right? Him and I both reviewed it for the show. It's a fantastic VR game. And it's unfortunate that it's stuck just to the Quest. I get the Quest has the biggest install base. But if you take a look at sales for the game and they didn't go well, it's because sales in VR in general aren't doing that well. VR hasn't taken off the way a lot of people expected it to, right? Look at PlayStation. Dude, we just had a state of play. They revealed 2 VR games. Not one of them, not one, was an internal studio working on their own platform. What's that tell you right there? PlayStation doesn't care anymore, man. Like, they have PSVR 2 and they're letting it die. I don't think we get a PlayStation VR 3. I really don't.
No, absolutely. They're not even supporting their own VR system, and they stand to gain from that. It tells you that even if they do support it well, they don't expect it to be bought that much. And part of that is the cost price to it. But PlayStation VR 2, I think, was one of the cheaper ways to get into VR 2. So you think that would be the right on route, but no, that just is not the case. It's unfortunate because Splinter Cell was canceled, like we said, and Splinter Cell could have been another one just like that. Assassin's Creed, I think there's a lot of opportunities for those fun moments, but then again, you think of anybody over the age of 30 crouching for hours at a time to sneak around like Sam Fisher. He somehow has pretty spry knees.
Yeah, but it's just a click of the thumbstick and then you crouch, right? Like, you don't have to. In Assassin's Creed, you click the stick, you drop down a little bit, right? So all of a sudden now you're technically crouched as you're moving around, sneaking around behind things and behind people. Dude, it was coming in with the Hidden Blade was awesome. Like, if you're an Assassin's Creed fan and have a chance to play this, here's an opportunity like you've never played before. It is well worth checking out. That is it, though. Checking out. Scott, I don't know how many people can actually play. It's a full-length game, right? They compared it to the first game. So, like, that's a full length. You're 10 hours. Easy, right? And if you go out and explore and do all the other side stuff, you're a lot longer. So, there is a full investment here from Ubisoft to go with Assassin's Creed Nexus that didn't pay off. So when we take a look at our previous article for today that we discussed Ubisoft and what they're doing, they're going all in on Star Wars Outlaws, right? Dude, that's going to hit huge numbers. Assassin's Creed Red's coming probably next year, if I had to guess, right? I was hoping for this year, but I think they're going to take this year off and then wait and go into 2025. I think that's when we get Assassin's Creed Red. But again, another staple within their studio lineups of making sure that they make good money. And that's what it comes down to. They need to keep the lights on. Ubisoft, not a small company whatsoever. I don't know, there's something down to like 30 studios or something. But man, you got to pay for those.
30 something, yeah.
Yeah, right? Like, you got to pay for those people to be there. And hopefully treat them well is the other side, right? That's a whole other discussion.
Yeah.
But when you take a look at VR, I think there's a small following in the world of VR, but it's not nearly as strong when you get into the console side of things or PC gaming, right? Or even the mobile side. You see Assassin's Creed, I think it's Assassin's Creed Jade. Dude, that's a full mobile game. And I bet you it does incredibly well. Incredibly well. I'm actually looking going, my iPad is really outdated now at this point. The time for an upgrade so I can play that. Right, so I can just take it on the go. But you just give me a handheld, I should be okay for Assassin's Creed, right? Like, why don't we do that? You got the Portal, I got my Logitech G Cloud, I can just play more Assassin's Creed on the go. But I want to do it that way, and it's the touchscreens that just doesn't do it for me. But VR at the end of the day just isn't in everybody's household like a console, and that's where they're starting to see the struggles, and it doesn't take off, which is unfortunate because I think people still suffer, like myself, from motion sickness that can't quite fully get all in on some of these games. Some of them work, some of them don't. Dude, you don't want to buy a game going, am I gonna get sick? Like, that's the worst feeling in the world. I've played a lot of VR games.
That's bad.
Dude, the minute I'm done, I'm like, I'm on the couch, I'm laying down, I don't feel well. I'm like, nah, I can't do it, right? Why would you want to do that? So,
and that's a lot of people. A lot of people just have that feeling or the worry of it, so they're not even curious. I have my Rift S, it's about 3 feet that way. I can't even give that away to my brother. He's just not interested.
Yeah, where he's on, but your brother yet plays on console, right? Like, that's the difference. The install base is different, and I don't know if VR will actually ever take off the way a lot of us expected it to, because it's playing in a different way, and in a way that just isn't like anything other. So I don't know. There's got some cool moments. I played a ton of cool games in VR, and Nexus being one of them, man. And it was just disappointing that they're not going to make another. Which, again, money talks.